Since authoritarian society reproduces itself in the individual structures of the masses with the help of the authoritarian family, it follows that political reaction has to regard and defend the authoritarian family as the basis of the state, culture, and civilization. In this propaganda, it can count on deep irrational factors in the masses. The reactionary politician cannot divulge his real intention in his propaganda. The German masses would not have responded to a slogan calling for the conquest of the world. In political propaganda, which is a question of producing a psychological effect on the masses, one is not dealing directly with economic processes, but with human structures. This consideration dictates a definite approach in the work of mental hygiene, and failure to make use of this approach can lead to errors in mass psychology. Consequently, revolutionary sexual politics must do more than just point out the objective basis of the authoritarian family. If it is to have an effect on the psychology of the masses, it must appeal to man's yearning for happiness in both life and love. From the point of view of social development, the family cannot be regarded as the basis of the authoritarian state, but only as one of the most important institutions that supports it. We, however, have to look upon it as political reaction's germ cell, the most important center for the reproduction of reactionary men and women. Originating and developing from definite social processes, it becomes the most essential institution for the preservation of the authoritarian system that shapes it. In this regard, the findings of Morgan and Engels are as valid today as they were then. However, we are not interested in the history of the family. What concerns us is an important contemporary sex political question, namely, how can sex economy most effectively counter reactionary sexual and cultural politics, in which the authoritarian family plays such a decisive role? A precise discussion of the basis and effects of the authoritarian family is vitally necessary, especially in view of the lack of clarity on this question that exists even in revolutionary circles. The authoritarian family contains a contradiction which must be understood in all of its details if we are to have an effective sex-economic mass hygiene. More than the economic dependency of the wife and children on the husband and father is needed to preserve the institution of the authoritarian family. For the suppressed classes, this dependency is endurable only on condition that the consciousness of being a sexual being is suspended as completely as possible in women and in children. The wife must not figure as a sexual being, but solely as a child bearer. Essentially, the idealization and deification of motherhood, which is so flagrantly at variance with the brutality with which the mothers of the toiling masses are actually treated, serve as means of preventing women from gaining a sexual consciousness, of preventing the imposed... Fuck you, dude! Of preventing women from gaining a sexual consciousness, of preventing the imposed sexual repression from breaking through, and of preventing sexual anxiety and sexual guilt feeling from losing their hold. Sexually awakened women, affirmed or recognized as such, will mean the complete collapse of the authoritarian ideology. Conservative sexual reform has always made the mistake of merely making a slogan of the right of woman to her own body, not clearly and unmistakably regarding and defining woman as a sexual being, at least as much as it regards and defends her as a mother. Furthermore, conservative sexual reform, based on its sexual policies predominantly on their function of procreation, instead of undermining the reactionary view that equates sexuality and procreation. It is for this reason that it was not able to counter mysticism with sufficient force. The ideology extolling the blessings of large families is necessary for the preservation of the authoritarian family. It is necessary not only in the interest of warlike imperialism, its most essential purpose is to obscure a woman's sexual function as opposed to her function as a childbearer. The drawing of a clear-cut distinction between mother and prostitute, as we find, for example, in the writings of the philosopher Weininger, corresponds to the distinction that the reactionary man draws between sexual desire and procreation. According to this view, to have sex for the pleasure of it degrades a woman and mother. A prostitute is a woman who affirms pleasure and lives for it. The notion that sexuality is moral only in the service of procreation, that what lies outside the pale of procreation is immoral, is the most important feature of reactionary sexual politics. This notion is no less reactionary when represented by communists such as Salkind and Stolyarov. Aggressive imperialism dictates that women be nothing but childbearing machines and invokes no rebellion against this function. In short, this means that sexual gratification must not interfere with her function of reproduction. Apart from this, however, a woman who is conscious of her sexuality would never willingly heed the reactionary slogans, which have her enslavement in mind. This antithesis between sexual gratification and procreation applies only to authority.